And welcome back to the Pedal Progressions podcast, where progression is the obsession and fun is a requirement. I'm joined today, like always, with Kellen Johnson on my right and Craig Frazee on my left, and I'm Brian Zajac, and we had an awesome conversation with Robbie Koets today. But before we get into that, Kellen, why don't you talk about our social media?
Yeah, you guys can find us on Instagram at pedal_progressions_podcast. We have a link tree under that. From there, you can find our merch store, links to the Spotify playlist or the Apple playlist. You can also email the show at pedalprogressions@gmail.com. Our merch store, I haven't had much to it right now. I'm working on it. I know we are kind of in a slump of sales. You can blame that on me. I haven't had new stuff, but we'd like to see you guys wear our stuff. We love seeing it out in the wild. I wear our hoodies all the time now during winter. I love our jerseys. Great stuff. We appreciate all you guys do when supporting us in the merch. And we want to hear your comments. Send us comments through Instagram, through our email, through Facebook, wherever you can find us. We want to hear what you guys got to think. Brian, back to you about some of our events.
First of all, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Building Blocks Foundation, and you can find them at buildingblocksfoundationinc.org. Get your donations in. We are providing speech and language pathology to underserved populations in the greater Grand Rapids area, and really just trying to get some sweet summer programs out there. Some events we've got coming on, we have the Rockford Bike Shop grand opening party on the 7th of March, which should just be a good time. There will also be the next guest on the podcast after this, so we will do a recap of the party with George and Katie. Also, the return of the 2025 Mount Holiday Downhill Dash Snow Downhill Race. We get asked all the time if there's going to be more snow downhill races, and finally there is one. Try to get out there. Do whatever you can to get up there, because we need the other ski resorts to see that it is a popular event and it's worth doing and they can make money doing it. If you have other plans, change them, get up there and race. And I just want to say, last weekend we got the opportunity to ride with our friends Caitlin and Mark from Toronto up in Rays, and it was a great time. They're putting together some really cool content. I just wanted to give them a quick shout out for the podcast. Check out their stuff at mountainbikelin.com. That's mountainbiklin.com. And Craig, why don't you tell us about the guest?
We had an awesome time chatting with Robbie Koets. He has either been first or last in the state's biggest races, leading the pack as the lead moto guy, or sweeping to follow up and make sure all the racers finish the course safely. Having been at the front and back of the race, he's got an awesome insight to some of the wildest stories out on course. We'll dive into what goes into managing pro-level events, his love for riding, and sometimes why being last is just as important as being first. Let's drop in with Robbie Koets.
He's good at his editing.
Yeah.
Like he does a really good job.
Yeah.
I mean, that one, he did such a good job storytelling the whole time.
Yeah. I told my wife, I was like, you have to watch this because we're going here. I don't know when, but we're going here. So
Kyle needs to start getting kickbacks from Bentonville.
yeah, tourism.
The tourism.
Right. Get some Walmart gift cards.
Does your wife ride too?
Yes.
Motorcycles or bikes?
Both. Technically. She hasn't touched her dirt bike in a couple years. But yeah, both. I got her, dirt bike wise, I got her a 99 Kawasaki KE100.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the bike I wanted growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I found one, great deal, got it. And then I turned it into a dirt bike and realized like I should have just bought an actual dirt bike for like a 4-stroke something. So it's got like 4 gears, clutch slip has no, it's just on or off. There's no feathering. And it's like, there's a better bike to teach her on so she could have a good time. But yeah, she's good on that. And then mountain bike wise, yeah, that's like when we first started dating, started out on a Gary Fisher. and just hardtail, and then eventually got her bike now, which is a stash, a men's small stash. So with 29 by 3.0 tires, and yeah, she loves it. I got her that, and then I got her a set of wheels with 2.4s on it, thinking like, oh, that'll be too much. You won't want the big tires. She's like, once she rode, she's like, don't touch it. She's like, that's fine. And she loves the like mid fats.
I think we should start a bike trading program here and get Brian on a dirt bike and Robbie on a
Trail
enduro
bike?
and trail bike.
Yeah.
Maybe do a
I'll
little
start riding cross country.
do a little swabbing here for a bit. And
Craig on a gravel bike.
Never gonna happen.
I will make questionable decisions on my hardtail. So I will do a lot of things on that I shouldn't. So
Nice. The voice you hear right now is Robbie Koets. Most people know him as the motorcycle rider from all the big races in Michigan. Sometimes in the front, sometimes in the back. Just depends on the race, I guess. How'd you get started dirt biking? Like when? When you were a kid?
Yeah.
You were looking at 100s first.
yeah. So how I got started in dirt bikes, that's a good one. Growing up, I always wanted a mini bike, and I think I was 10 years old, and my dad got me a 1973 Honda ST90. So you see a lot of people with like the CT70s. That's a really popular bike. The 90 was the slightly bigger one, but similar frame, and got me that for $900. I remember it, and still have it. It's still in the garage. And yeah, we have our cabin up in Traverse City, just like 3 miles south of the Iceman Trail. Mm-hmm. So I had that. He had a old Yamaha 175, and he had been riding there for a while, and the cabin was from my mom's side of the family. So my dad had been riding there since the 70s, and they never knew where they were going, and we just kind of did the same thing, started riding around, and I'd follow him. And it's funny looking back because I always think like, oh, it's your dad. And you're like, yeah, it's my dad. It's your dad. He knows where he's going.
He always knows.
Always know where we're at. And we'd run into a river and be like, okay, got to turn around, or a road and this and that. And yeah, growing up now, it's like, oh, he had like a very, very loose feel on where we were, and just like, oh, he didn't know half the time where we were at. It's like
Older I get, the more I realize it's like a dad's superpower.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have this like almost like birds have a homing beacon
Right.
in their brain.
Right.
Dads have this ability to navigate their terrain and just know where point B is and move in that general direction.
Right.
And get there.
And he's dealing with a 9 or 10-year-old crying on a dirt bike because I couldn't get it up a hill. So that's how it started. I was not the cool kid on the motocross bike ripping doubles. So
I struggle enough as it is with OnX and some of the best apps as it is in GPS mapping.
right.
When I'm out on the trail and I get a little lost or I take a wrong turn, I panic.
Yeah.
And I have to pull up my phone and don't know where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's with all the technology in the world. So I can only imagine if you just had to rely on similar landmarks.
Right. And
Yeah.
And the funny part is those trails that we would explore and figure out and be like, okay, I crossed the river once, so I'm north of the Boardman River. Okay, I'm east of Supply Road or Williamsburg Road. I'm south of 72, whatever it is. Well, that's where Iceman is. So all that growing up, just dinking around, getting lost out in the woods with my dad. Here we are 30 years later, and it's like, I know right where I'm at on the Iceman Trail. I'm like, yeah, no, I've been lost out here so many times. I know right where I'm at. So it's been a cool full circle for that. But yeah.
I rode the Iceman Trail with Alex Premu earlier this year. I guess last year, technically, right before the race, and I got lost a couple times.
Yeah.
Like we'd be in a group, and then we'd go to like pass some people, and some of us would get by, and some of us wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then like everyone I was with knew the way really well, but
Yeah.
I did not.
Right.
They're like, look for the pink,
pink flags.
but there aren't pink flags very often.
No, and the pink flags are very few and far between, and they're faded sometimes too, and they might just not be there. So yeah, and there's so many just like little one-offs because the course changes so much year to year too that it can really throw you very quickly.
The closer we got to the finish area, the more confusing everything got.
Oh,
I felt like.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's
And the worst I felt.
Yeah, right. Yeah, once you get into the Vasa, the spaghetti of Vasa, I have a lot of that mapped out just from figuring out on my rides or stealing people's GPXs. The closer you get, same thing. Like, I'll stop so often just to double check where I'm at. But pre-riding Iceman, I do that in Vasa because I don't want the first time for me seeing those last 10 turns. I don't want it to be Saturday morning with
Alex right behind you.
With Alex right behind me. Exactly.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a nice chill ride. We get there, it starts sleeting and raining super hard when we're in Kalkaska. So we get on the gas right away. They guilted me into clipless pedals, which I always ride flats. So my knee is killing me. And the group lead is the guy who won the non-pro of Iceman, but would have competed well in pro, and Emma Schwab, who is UCI Pro winner. So needless to say that by the time we got to the really confusing parts, I kept getting a little too far back and just would lose them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like we'd come up to an intersection of like 5 different ways to go.
Spiderweb.
And I'm like, where's the pink flag?
Yeah. It's not
And then
there.
I'd have to stop and look, and they know where they're going, so they're not stopping at all.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, I'm 20 minutes back. You're like, where the hell did everybody go? And then they'd call and be like, where are you?
Now you're friends with me. So you can just call me, I'll come get you. So,
You get a bungee cord for the back of that thing?
absolutely. toe strap.
So for those of you that don't know, Robbie has a special relationship with those pink flags on the race course. And you're the only one on course that's either always first or always last.
Yep.
I guess tell us a little bit about what you do on race day if you're not pedaling a bike.
Yeah, so I get to be the lead moto. Started out as a sweep moto from Iceman, and it's gone into other races we can talk about. But yeah, for Iceman, it really started there. 06 was my first year sweeping. I had my KTM 300 two-stroke, and it was freezing, and I didn't know much more than just show up and try and keep up with the guys that I was with. But yeah, so the main job, if you're sweeping, it's picking up bodies at the end of the day. So we sweep the pro class, and just to make sure that, okay, everyone's off out of the woods, even with the timing system and the chips, stuff happens. People will drop out and not text, not let anyone know. So, stuff like that. So if they say, hey, we're missing racer 1, 2, 3, and we can say, nope, we did not see anyone out there. So they can say, okay, let's contact them and go from there. So yeah, sweeping, it's what it is. Picking up the pieces at the end of the day, making sure it's clear, and then leading. That's the fun one. That's the they're both fun.
I would think leading would be so much more stressful because everyone's chasing you.
Leading's the stressful one. Leading's the one that if your bike breaks, that it's going to be a bad day. But yeah, so yeah, it's in front of wave 1, super fun because a bunch of my friends are in that wave typically. So
Cody and stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. My buddy Dallas from Grand Rapids, he's on Black Rock's team, and yeah, a lot of those guys. Fun to see them. I always, not supposed to, but I always pull right up to the wave 1 and just like roll right in front of them first thing in the morning, just to like and
Give them a couple revs.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it's just to like see who's in what jerseys, to be like, okay, who's where. Like you mentioned Alex, like I think he had a tan vest on a couple years ago when he was first, and like just being able to pick out who's who, so I could see later in the race, okay, yep, there's a white helmet, pink jersey, whatever, coming after me. So
that'd be cool knowing people, knowing what they're wearing, and kind of see the whole race like the front of the race unfold right in front of your eyes the whole way.
That
like where the attacks happen, where people fell off.
The
Stuff people don't get to see, just stay on the sidelines.
Yeah, like make it stick. It's super fun to see who's coming over that first, which I used to sit at the top of the hill and wait, but now there's so much single track after that. I'm not hanging around too much, because you get to the top of the hill and it goes right into that super tight single track, and you're not out of single track until now. You're going all the way through Sand Lake's quiet area until you hit Broomhead Road. So
Did the free ride guys jump over you, or did they wait and go for Alex?
they waited, and I sent a message and I gave them permission. I was like, please, you are more than welcome to jump over me on that. So
The problem's not going to be halfway over the road. It's going to be on the landing. They're not hurting anybody but themselves.
exactly, yeah. So, and if I have enough time, the other fun part for that is being a drummer, as you know.
Yeah.
If I can get there with enough time to do a drum solo, which I did on the pre-ride this year. I pre-rode the day before, so got there for a quick drum solo. So yeah.
We were gonna try to get out there and like watch. When I did the pre-ride, I kind of helped them with some of the angles and stuff because the original thing they had going was not going to clear the trail. The end needed to come up a good like 6-8 inches. It needed to be extended out a little bit. I think they extended it almost 3 feet and they raised it up 6 inches.
Okay. Yeah. I always wondered how do you figure out if that's going to work or not? And that's where you guys know what you're doing. So
I was concerned about the landing a little bit too because it was super soft. They were just piling sand and he's like, "Are we gonna put some carpet on there?" And I'm like, "That's a sniper of a landing still."
Oh, yeah.
But I think they ended up making it twice as big as when I was there the week before. So
gotcha.
the thing with a drop or even covering any kind of distance like that is like if your landing's big enough, you got a lot of space to like make a mistake. But if you're sniping a landing, all kinds of things can go wrong. And like I know a lot of the problem with that jump was the speed coming into it because it's flat to uphill to go into jumping over 16, 18 feet out and like probably 10 feet down.
Yeah, you're not coasting into that by any means.
That's the worst thing you can do when building a jump is have to brake or have to pedal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, ideally, you want, okay, this is the tree I'm starting with.
Yep.
Drop in, no brakes, no pedals.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
But not always the case.
No, I stopped and walked out to the end of that just to look at it. I'm like, yeah, hard pass. That's yeah. So no, that's Lead at Iceman is super fun. I've been doing the Wave 1 for the last couple of years, and then this year I did Wave 1 and then rode back to my cabin and then went back up and led the pros for the first time this year with Ward, mutual friend of you downhill guys. So
yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah,
I remember him from the old race days back on our hardtails racing downhill.
Nice.
So how does that work now? There's two guys on dirt bikes leading this year. The first one does what? And what does the second one do?
Yeah. So for Iceman, that was me and Ward.
Yeah.
I was I was getting
the first guy or the second first guy?
Yeah.
Were you first or second?
It depends where you saw us because we kind of traded off a little bit. But typically for the pro class, I think I was in front more and Ward was closer to the pros. Mm-hmm. And we kind of ride together. But yeah, he was pretty much just showing me like, oh yeah, this is how close he's pretty much everything I thought I knew, but just good to see like, hey, how do you do this? Because this is how I do it. And how do you do it? And I think I get a lot more jittery and I take off quicker and he'll let him reel him in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I'm not going to be the guy that gets caught. It's not on my watch.
They're fast.
They're so fast. So
do you feel like you have an influence on the pace at all?
No, unless if anything, it'd be slowing it down, I think. But
okay.
No, maybe speeding up just a little bit when you think about it, just because when I've heard some of the amateurs that follow me in, they're like, I heard your engine and I kept thinking, oh, I'm getting closer. I'm going to catch him. So maybe like that, but
I would totally do that.
It's so tight.
It would be in my head.
Yeah. And I actually switched. So I rode, I have a Honda 650 and I've ridden that for a while. But the last couple of years, my dad got a Honda 250 like trail bike.
Whatever their X model is.
Not even that. It's the CRF 250F. So it's air cooled, fuel injected, electric start. So yeah, it can't not run pretty much. Mm-hmm. So and that thing is like a big mini bike, and it is the perfect lead moto bike for any kind of Iceman type trail.
Just smooth and quiet.
So quiet and super, usable power. And I'll always say this: it's way more fun riding a slow bike fast than a fast bike slow.
Yeah,
and that is the definition of this. It's a slow bike that I am just ragging on towards the end, like coming in through Timber Ridge at the end, like the switchbacks and then into Icebreaker. Like I had bottomed the suspension out multiple times, just like throwing it through there. I'm like, they are lighting the wick on this one, and you know they're coming, but you don't know how far back they are. You know,
Yeah.
We were on wood chip this year. Colin and I were. We were with Jill and them passing
Yeah.
out the cheeseburgers.
Yep.
I would if I could have grabbed one, I would have. But yeah, no, wood chip was super fun. I ran up that a little bit further ahead of Ward just to try and part the wave of people a little bit. So yeah,
It worked.
Yeah,
We heard the bike coming, and then because there was such a long gap,
yeah,
we're like, what happened?
yeah. That
We were confused and not in the right state of mind to not be confused.
to decipher what was happening. Yeah, no, that was me and Ward tag team in the lead. So I think it helped a lot, and it's kind of smart having two motos because if something happens to one, you know.
Yeah, nice to have a backup. Like if you say your bike can't fail, but if one does, there's a backup there.
Absolutely. So it was a good ride this year. Looking forward to it. I think I'm in too deep. I don't think there's any way getting out of it. So I'm gonna be leading Wave 1 and Pro again probably.
Nice.
So yeah.
Has your bike failed before?
It has not. Yep. Let's see. Yeah. Shout out to Randy Cycle of Gobles, Michigan, who's retired but takes care of me a little bit. So
Nice.
yeah, he makes sure everything's running just right on the old Big Red Pig, the 650.
Do you think you or the actual mountain bike racers inspect the bike more the night before?
Me, but I've learned and forced myself to like stop touching it. Just like don't try anything stupid. Like at most I'll put like bar mitts on it if it's going to be cold. Past that I'm like, nope, everything works. It worked 2 days ago. Leave it. So
How many years did it take you to figure out to get bar mitts?
yeah, right. I just started wearing those two years ago, and the mountain bike mitts fit perfectly on the moto, and it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's so cold. I can do anything else is okay, but once the hands go, it's the worst. And you're trying to warm them up on the exhaust pipe. It's just not good.
Yeah, kind of speaking of bar mitts and that, I ride, dirt bike through the woods too, and there are some tight trails. And I think some of the mountain bike trails I ride, like these are even a lot tighter and tighter corners where dirt bikes have tougher time getting through them.
Right.
Like, how do you run this stuff like that, trying to lead races? Like, oh, I can't make this corner, or
right.
You gotta like go wide or something.
Absolutely. I try not to, because the biggest thing is the safety first.
Yep.
But you don't want to blow out the trail either.
Yeah.
Because you don't get invited back. Like that's the whole thing. Like, oh, it must be so fun ripping through there, and it's like it would be once. And I could roost every corner and drag the brake into the corners, but that won't get me invited back. So
Well, your decision to run the Honda makes a lot more sense now.
yeah,
It's just so easy to be smooth, and that motor is silky.
exactly. It's the slow bike fast phenomenon that I'll take that any day over like a race bike. So
How far do you go with keep the trail in good condition? Like, do you change to tires that won't tear the trail up as much, or you just kind of?
I haven't had to, because really I still need knobbies a lot of the time, just because it's super technical.
Yeah.
The biggest trick is just like keeping your rhythm going and maintaining that flow. So like where I would be dragging a rear brake into the corner, I'm pulling the clutch in and just using my mountain bike skills to lean it over and trust the bike through the corner and stuff like that, and just that real low torque of the 4 strokes, just to try and keep momentum where I'm not, like you're on the pipe on a 2-stroke.
Yeah.
It's not that so much. You're just like keeping the bike. It sounds like you're idling, but you're just super smooth. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being smooth. And if you ride like single track trails in Michigan, everything's sandy.
Mm-hmm.
And what you don't expect riding dirt bike trails or off-road trails is there are huge, big old sand berms in the middle of the woods, like 6 foot tall, that you can just rip into, drag, do the old thing you used to do as a little kid, drag that rear brake, throw it sideways and do a skid into just like full gas, roost everything. And there's mile upon mile of that. You think of an off-road trail, that's what a lot of it is around Michigan. But
yeah, and with Iceman, they cut so much new trail. Nimba and Tom White, they've been cutting so much new trail every year. It's been awesome. But yeah, so that's on top of that, that's fresh trail. That's, not super smooth. And it's a little challenge, which takes me back to Lumberjack 100. Ward and I would lead that out, and we'd sweep it first thing in the morning, like 4:30 in the morning. We'd go out and ride into the sunrise to make sure the whole 30-mile loop is clear, because people change arrows and rip tape down and stuff. And we'd ride it first thing in the morning and then lead them out and then drop the racers off as they go back into the first loop. I don't know if you've ever ridden Big M, but it's like old technical single track. And that on motos was a blast. But we can't do that anymore. So, oh well.
Yeah. I could see where you think leading would be fun. For me, I think leading would be a little too stressful, at least for me starting out. I mean, you got people that are racing pro, like they're racing for cash. If I mess them up, that's really going to bother me. Like, I screwed up your day, you're actually losing money because of me.
Yep.
Or I don't know, I would love to sweep. But then again, I could see someone having an issue, struggling, and you're not supposed to let anyone behind you. And I could see you're pretty much kicking your bike, like, walking as fast as they are until you can get them off. And it's
you're the cleanup crew, and whether that's you're sticking with them, whether that's a phone call or if it's a medical issue, which, thank you, I really haven't ran into anything major medical wise, but it's mainly about communication and just being able to get help where they need it quickest. So.
I could see essentially pushing a mountain bike out is not a big deal if you're having a bad day. But pushing a dirt bike behind this guy pushing his mountain bike out, that's gotta suck.
Not a great time. When you're sweeping Iceman and you finally roll in, and the lead guys, which is me now, but the last 15 whatever years has not been, and you get to the end and they're like, "Where were you guys? Took you so long." It's like, yeah, no kidding. We're waiting for everyone to get out of the woods.
So say you have someone that breaks down, and you can, all right, I got them off to this road. Like, all right, we'll get help at this road.
Yeah.
Can you rip it to get to the next guy that was last in line? Like, I mean, you're in the last of the race. Who cares, right?
Absolutely.
There you go. That's when you finally get to rip that trail.
Responsibly, of course.
Oh,
yeah. Just as smooth as we can be.
I think Kellen's kind of asking for a job.
Yeah. No, I'll put him to work.
I'm asking for a sweeper job.
Yeah, that's the fun one. So, yeah, I actually brought one of my friends into this shindig about a year and a half ago. My buddy Kurt, grew up together, went to high school together, and he had never really been around bike racing at all. And I had a herniated disc in my back, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to lead Barry a couple years ago. And I was in pretty rough shape, and I was like, "Oh, Kurt's got a Suzuki 400. It's street legal." And more than anything, I'm like, I trust his mental capabilities to not make bad decisions. And it was great. So he came in and he led the 62 mile, and it was like 2 days or 1 day before, and he calls me and he's like, I thought this was like a 500 person race, which is big. He's like, it's like 5,000 people for Barry-Roubaix. And I'm like, oh yeah. And you're leading the 62 mile, just so you know. And he's like,
which is the main event.
The main event, exactly. So he had a trial by fire, and he did great from there. And he's been so solid with me since then. We've done a lot of tag team races together. We have helmet radios, and that's been a huge change, huge help too. So like the gravel races, the further distance races, they're not always marked on the road. There might be like a spray paint arrow, but it might, curve. We were up in Leelanau, and there's, it curves into a cherry orchard or something and rips through the cherry orchard, then pops back out on a 2-track and then goes through a private property, then stuff like that. So he and I would just be able to leapfrog each other and like, okay, you go up, you find the next turn and park there so everyone can see the turn there. I'll lead them through, and then I'll just keep the pace, and then you pass me, you catch up with the group, pass me, go find the next turn, and we just keep doing that. So that's been a huge help. And we tag team up at Barry as well now. Like, he'll do the short course, I'll do the 62, Ward will do the 100, and then when he gets done with the short course, he'll backtrack and find me leading the 62. And by then there's probably like a break at some point. So one of us will stick with, the front brake, and the other guy will either do the leapfrog thing for the last few intersections that aren't manned, and we can kind of control traffic that way, or if there's a huge gap, the second guy can go back and lead the larger peloton. Because if I'm out front leading the race, well, if the race is 2 guys and there's, 2,000 more guys behind us and there's a huge 100-person peloton, yeah, the lead guy needs it, but that big peloton behind us could really use some help too. So that's where we split up, and we're still in communication that way. So it's been really nice getting 2 people to run it like that. So yeah.
So it sounds like there's really an art and a science to figuring out the best way to
I'll let you
clear
know.
a race, and
I'll let you know when I figure it out. So we
going
are
along the way.
constantly learning and trial and error. What was the one last year? Lord of the Springs. I love racing that up in Yankee Springs, down in Yankee Springs, and Wakely showed up at that one. And it's like, okay. And I jokingly on Facebook, I was like, hey, Jordan, looks like you and I are just going to go for a ride on Saturday together. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. And that's kind of what happened. And, I just stuck with him, and Kurt hung back with the rest of the group. And what I ended up doing was going back. We kind of leapfrogged that way too. And I was able to kind of give like a little bit of race data, just being like, hey, the next group's, Wakely's 3 minutes ahead of you guys. And, then run up to the front of the thing like, hey, they're about 3 minutes back, like that. So that's about as much involved as I get to a race like that. But just having the two groups is real helpful. So
How many races are you up to now? Like, which ones do you do?
yeah, good question. I can probably just start through the calendar. Starts with Bear-Roubaix, Cow Pie. After that, I've done Dirty Donut on and off a couple years. Lumberjack, no longer can do that. Then Coast to Coast, and then Watermoo. I picked up Watermoo last year, and Lord of the Springs, and then Moment is another one of those on and off, and then Iceman to cap the year. So yeah,
So that was 9
yeah,
a year.
yeah. So and it's not all those are still going. A lot of them, like some come and go. So I can't do the Lumberjack anymore, but picked up Watermoo and Cow Pie, and those have been super fun races in areas that I don't really know. I'm not really familiar with, Ionia or the whole Waterloo recreation area. So that was a really fun one. That's like 110 miles, 120 miles for Watermoo. So that allows me to also have to get a fuel stop in.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like, how do you make it that far, those longer races?
A very large gas tank. But with Watermoo, I had it all planned out. I found a gas station on Google Maps. I'm like, all right, this is going to be it. So I had my point on my map where I was like, all right, at this point, I'm going to, ditch the front. And I had another rider with me, so I left him with them and ran up the course like 4 miles, getting gas, and like hang the pump up. I'm like, I got time to run to the bathroom. So run in, run out, getting on my bike, and I see like the front just coming right up, and I'm like, this is why I do what I do. And just hit the e-start and boom, right in front of it.
So you got time like a pit stop? You're out there the week before with your stopwatch?
Yeah, it felt like it. But yeah, that was a well-timed pit stop on that one. So
You imagine getting your bike set up and all the worry and all that and trying to plan at the gas station. What a time to have a card get declined on you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, keep it. Just run.
So was that your biggest oh shit moment while leading, or do you have a closer call?
That's a great one. I'm glad that I have to think about this.
I heard one when you were on with Trevor on Jerry Shane.
The Barry one where they catch me every freaking year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
you like looked back and someone was like drafting you and you're like, gotta go.
Yeah, that's in that same spot. They did not catch me this year because I was very aware of that, or last year I should say. That's one. Another one in it's Barry, just because when I get the 60 milers and we're catching up to the 36 and trying to get through the 36 milers with the 62 milers behind me, and I had probably like 10 or 12, like a group of 10 or 12 that was trying to make a break from the main group, and we're just before we get to the Killer Hill on Barry. We're in heavy traffic, and I'm trying to, on the horn, and I actually got like a super loud whistle now too, because like my horn will just wear down my battery eventually. So now
Gotta get you a JBL Bluetooth speaker.
yeah, just cranking it.
Get out of the way.
Yeah,
People are trying to win money.
exactly. Yeah, Rider in Contention just plays that super loud. So yeah, just looking in my rearview mirror and seeing like a pace line of like 12 guys right off my fender, and I'm just making a hole for them to get through. And I'm the slower rider. Like I've raced Barry a handful of times, and like I'm the slower rider. And if you don't know why a moto's out there, you just think like, oh, cool, yeah, part of the race. It's like, no, this is like the front of the race. I need you to move.
What a dick. What's this guy doing, man?
Yeah, exactly.
As you're dying going
Right.
up that hill.
Right, exactly. The last thing you're thinking about is that. But yeah, so no,
You've passed us before.
yeah.
When we'd set up and move stations, and we like have speakers, and we like pole dance in the back of the truck in party shorts, and we pass out airplane bottles of liquor and stuff.
That's you guys.
Yeah. Jill Martindale's dad always partakes in a airplane bottle of bourbon.
That's fantastic.
Always got to have Jameson for him.
See, it's the wonder of Barry, there's something for everybody there. So if you want to be in Lycra, great. If you want to be in jean shorts, there's a spot for you there too. So
It's funny because I have a question about that on my list.
yeah.
About jean shorts?
No,
Where's
no.
this heading?
When you started out motorcycle,
Yeah.
and then you got bike intrigued and started doing biking,
Yeah.
did you go full Spando right away, or did you kind of ease into it? Because I'm sure coming from moto at first, you just made fun of everyone. In
Exactly.
Spando.
Yeah, and I had a rule in college. I'm like, I'm under a certain weight. I'm like, you're not going to see me in spandex unless I'm under like a certain weight. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that to anyone. Like I'll wear it, but there's baggies involved. So yeah, coming from moto, I started with a Schwinn from Meyer one night in college. Yep, I went to Meyer, and I found just the cheapest $120 Schwinn, and it had a dent in the frame. And I talked to a manager. I'm like, come on, this is worth something. I got like 20% knocked off of it. So rode that at El Sabo around Kalamazoo and Fort Custer, and realized, okay, this is cool enough. So got a GT Avalanche from there, and then from there got my like a Trek 29er, and from there I'm on a Stash now, hardtail. So but yeah, just getting into it. My friends and I had a very unofficial group called Team Bike Curious. So that took off for quite a few years, and we just would ride a bunch of like road rides. And so I have a hard time getting my friends on mountain bikes. They're a lot of roadies, so do what I can to expand their horizons. But yeah, that team has since transitioned because we all have kids now. So now it's Bike Daddies. So just shout out to those guys. You know who you are. So yeah, it's a good time.
You still dodged my question.
Yeah, so I rephrase it. The Lycra, yeah. I was in Lycra pretty quickly. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Because none of us own any, I don't think.
That was going to be my question. If I went to raise, I was like, I have to ask these guys, like, what do I wear? Like, yeah, so that's...
We would have told you Lycra.
Yeah. Oh, we mainly wear speed suits at Rays. Yeah, just... Yeah, full body.
Some of those jumps are hard to clear.
Exactly.
You gotta go fast in that pump track.
You gotta get all the speed you can get. So.
Callan wears too baggy clothes. That's why he catches air and doesn't
that's it.
clear them.
That's it.
That's why he cases.
Yeah.
Can't be my fault.
No.
It's
Well,
clothes,
actually,
it's the
it's
clothes I
called
wear.
parachute pants. It helps with landing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
softens
They
it.
inflate. Yep.
I try to be old and wear like the most boring normal clothes as possible,
Yeah.
as to not look decent. Even at Boyne Highlands, like I ride in a basketball jersey and like regular shorts
Smart.
and then pass people.
See, that's
But no knee pads.
that's the trick with motos. You show up to an enduro and you watch for the guy with like the nastiest looking bike, but he's got fresh tires and a fresh chain, and you better watch out because that's the guy that's gonna get it. So, yep.
So do you race pedal bikes too, or just lead them?
Yeah, no, I enjoy a race from time to time. I've always raced Mud, Sweat, and Beers up in Traverse City. I just love that one. I think it's well ran. It's a good course. It's fun earlier in the year. I always do Yankee Springs time trial. It's always a fun one. And yeah, just whatever. Maybe a gravel race in there somewhere. But yeah, I love racing. And that's kind of part with leading and sweeping. Like, without the bike background, I'm just a moto guy that likes to ride dirt bikes. But with the bike influence, I understand what's on the line. I understand, I know a lot of the racers, so that part's cool to be involved with that. And it just makes it more exciting for me, for sure. And hopefully it helps, the race as a whole.
Yeah.
To have somebody that knows what's going on and not just like, yeah, I'm just supposed to ride my dirt bike in front of all these lycra clad, cyclists today. So yeah, I really enjoy it from that perspective, because you do get the best seat in the house, whether it's Iceman or Barry or, one of the smaller races too. Lord of the Springs is super fun because you're dropping them off in the single track, and then I got to bust around and pick them back up when they pop out of the single track, and we ride some gravel and then drop them back off into the single track and then pick them back up. So that's a whole logistical and timing kind of dance with that. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that's super fun, just to see like, okay, I dropped off with, this rider going in, and then comes out and it's, a group of 3 guys caught him and passed him on the other side. So it's super cool just to see how races change and get established throughout the race.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This has to be a dumb question, but do you enjoy racing bikes more or leading them out with your dirt bike?
That's a great question.
I thought I knew an answer instantly. I know my answer, and I don't even do it.
Yeah. It's leading out, I think I enjoy leading out more, but it's way more stressful than racing, because now that I've been that part of the race, like when I line up, I realize that like, okay, well, I'm just going to be mid to last part of the pack, and nothing special is going to happen here.
Nothing on the line to lose.
Exactly. There's so
here.
much more pressure on you
exactly
than anybody racing behind you.
Exactly. So races have gotten more enjoyable for me, because I realized like I just donated some money to go ride my bike, and that's super fun. And when you look at it like that, like, this is going to be a great day, because that's what it is. And but
it's the same pressure as the pros. Like, they're making money. Like, I have to do well, or I'm not going to make money. I'm not going to get paid.
Right.
You can't not come in first.
I can't not come in first.
You're the Ricky Bobby. You're the first or last.
Yeah, first or last.
First or last. Yeah. Do they call you Ricky Bobby, or do they call you Ricky Robbie?
Ooh, it's Robbie Bobby.
They do now. Yeah. Yeah. This point forward, I want to be called that. So.
Ricky Robbie.
Yeah. No, it's a little stressful, as we've said multiple times, but honestly, once the race gets going and you get settled in, you just do the job. So, I have my map software on my phone. I use Gaia GPS, and I study it. I'll pre-ride. If I can pre-ride a course, I'll do that. Sometimes, like with Barry, when it's been frozen earlier, when I didn't know the course as well, I'd go out and drive it. And my wife loved just going for a 2-hour drive in the middle of Barry County. So the best. Yeah. So.
All muddy. And
exactly.
Ruddy.
Yeah. Honey, we're taking your Subaru. Hope you don't mind. Yeah.
Have you ever taken a wrong turn?
Not yet.
In the pack. Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's come close. I've had to do like blown the turn and then looped back around, but that's where the little cushion of how far in front I want to be, that's where that comes into play. So
are there any races that are on the bucket list of like, I would love to lead for that race?
Yeah. The tour? No. I wouldn't.
I mean, you'd have to buy a GS, right?
Right? Yeah. Well, and they have those Yamahas with the double front wheels.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen those?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
They can come to a complete stop, right?
Yeah.
The bike doesn't tip over.
Yeah, it's like a reverse tricycle. I don't know how else to...
It's essentially a Can-Am Spider, but the wheels are tight,
super
like tucked
tight.
in. Like, they're maybe, I would say, a foot apart at the most from outside wheel to outside wheel.
Yeah.
I think those are just the camera bikes, though, because they have the cameraman standing on the back.
Right.
I think they run a single front wheel for the like pace bikes and stuff.
Maybe we can get Acker to get one of those for me for Barry. I don't know, but just throwing it out there, Matt.
Well, Jenny will listen, so
Yeah.
you might want to try to get Jenny to do it.
The best part is this would be a tax write-off for you, too.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's I've not made a wrong turn. I hope not to, but that's as far as the races, I think it would be helpful in a couple races. I'd like to do like Lowell. I think that would be helpful. That seems like a pretty good sized race, and it has different distances, so that can help a lot. But yeah, I'm open to anything. Like I said, Watermoo, I just started doing that one. I'm going back this year for that. Cow Pie, that's another good one. But yeah, I'm open to suggestions, and we need more point-to-point mountain bike races because those are the most fun. So that's
Yeah.
So this might be dangerous, but if we put your contact information on this episode,
yeah.
are you open to
more races?
More races?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. And talking with my buddy Kurt too, he's hooked now because he had no idea that bike races were as big as they are, and he is a complete convert now. He's just like, he's all about it.
Does he ride yet? Does he ride pedal bikes yet?
Close. I think we're really close.
Boyne Highlands trip will get him in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So,
And you have a new sweeper too.
I know. Yeah. So we got a new team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a really far back sweeper.
Yeah.
There's another one right there.
No, me and Kellen are going to tag team.
What's your name? It can't be pedal progressions, like bike.
Throttle progressions.
Yeah, throttle progressions.
Motorboat and son of bitches.
This is a kids podcast.
Yeah, that'll land a lot of jobs, Brian. Yeah,
It will to cool people.
that's fair.
You want to do cool races, you got to have a buffer.
So we can't get Brian on a dirt bike.
That's what I've heard.
But
yeah,
his complaint always has been he is afraid he's going to confuse what is the front and rear brake with the hand brakes and that. All three of us here coming from riding dirt bikes and pedal bikes. Is that a thing?
yeah, but you're only gonna do it once.
I've ridden dirt bikes in the woods.
Yeah.
And I've done it more than once.
Yeah,
It's the foot brake thing is the issue.
right.
And I'm a super heavy front brake rider on a mountain bike. Like, I don't use my rear brake that much. My front brake pads wear out way more than my rears do.
Yeah,
So that being a clutch messes with me quite a bit.
yeah,
Like, so not only can I not find my foot brake,
yeah.
but then the brake that I'm used to using the most just makes you go faster.
yeah,
Think about it this way: you're going to clutch in anyway.
free rev.
So you clutch in when you hit rear brake anyways.
If you're hard on your front brake on a mountain bike, that just means clutch in on a dirt bike.
Which makes you go faster down a hill, which is my issue.
Now you have the opportunity to grab the right amount of rear and front brake.
Which brings me back to my point that, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for guys that had to ride bikes. So, yeah, if we all rode dirt bikes, we wouldn't be doing this. So.
See, my theory is we just need to get him on an electric bike.
Right?
A Suron, E-Ride, Stark in a perfect world.
Right.
It's just throttle and mountain bike brakes.
Those are cool.
Or you could just live in any other country besides America where they run it moto style anyways, and it would no longer be an issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize this, but I'm old and don't learn things quickly.
you don't like change.
Yeah. I'm like past my midlife crisis.
That would throw me for a loop, dude.
I'm one step away from a convertible outside.
Nice.
So Robbie, you've done a ton of races and seen a lot of things. What's the best aid station or fan on the sideline? I'm sure you have an answer here. Costumes or
Bagpipes?
Yeah.
Question mark?
oh
Yeah.
wow.
Bagpipes are cool at Barry. That's sweet. So I'll do two. Barry, the Hastings drumline on the top of Three Sisters. That's sweet. I'm a former drumline band nerd, and my friend Jen is the band director for Hastings, so she's up there with the drumline. And this year I did get out in front far enough that I could stop and play the snare for a little bit. So I just leaned off my bike real quick, and I yelled to one of the high school kids, I'm like, give me your sticks, and did a quick drum on that. That was pretty great. But there's a couple groups at Iceman that you just can't top, and it's the bigger races that have some of the best pit stops in there. And yeah, a couple of years ago, sweeping, ran into Ivy. She races for Venom. She was having a rough day, and ended up riding with her into the finish. stopped at one, and yeah, had some good Gatorade and sports drinks, and yeah, it was just really good time. So, yeah.
I remember the bacon and bourbon stop at Margie. You don't get to do Margie on the.
No.
Well, it'd be hard on a dirt bike, honestly.
I think
it'd be
I would-
tight and very difficult to climb some of the crap.
I would say impossible.
like-
Or close to it.
Manny Lettenbichler or Billy Bolt,
Yep.
one of the hard enduro
Yep,
guys.
Graham Jarvis,
Yeah,
one of
Graham
those.
Jarvis.
Yeah. No, we'll let them have that. So
What are the chances that I know you're in Traverse City this weekend, or not this weekend, but the weekend I'm speaking of?
Yeah.
What are the chances we can get you to the bootleg next year?
not 0.
What if we lend you a bike?
Like 95%.
By
yes.
lending, he means start the selling process.
Start the selling process. I'm a listener, and I understand what I'm agreeing to. So
So you, in fact, subscribe to the religion of N+1.
absolutely,
Yes.
yeah. My basement, and I have a hard time selling bikes. That's the other problem. Yeah, right now I get to buy a bike for my brother-in-law right now because he's down in Texas. and
Spending
it's a
other people's
place-
money is
that
even
is
better.
That's the best, and it's fun when it's like buying nice bikes are fun, but knowing that like, oh, you're on a tight budget and that like how much bike can I get for how little
Bang
money?
for the buck.
That's it's good time.
I just
So-
helped my friend Corey, who listens to the show, pick out a new bike.
Ooh.
And then he immediately went and bought a second new bike.
That's
like literally the next day.
I mean, dude, the bike market is so in a dip right now.
there's some deals.
We are in a buyer's market.
Visit your local bike shop for deals on deals.
Yes.
Right. Let's move some wheels. So
Yeah. We need to get you on a full suspension. So
I'm in. Yeah. I'm
especially
in.
now that you're a dad. Like you can't go around like with a stiff back, carrying your
Exactly.
kid around.
No.
How tall are you?
6'1".
Okay, he's riding my bikes.
Nice.
Yep.
New bikes for Craig.
Yeah.
We got a good stable for you to explore.
And the nice thing with like, bootleg
Nothing
or
cross
anything.
country related.
No, we're good. Yeah. Gravity. Do you see this? Do you see my build? I was built for gravity. So no, with races like that, I'm used to being last, sweeping, and I realize you're out there. It's like I'm last, and I still had just as much fun if I had absolutely gassed myself and gotten top 10 or something. So yeah, I don't have that competitive spirit that some do. I'll say that. So
We'll say lining up in the gate like for an enduro race or a downhill race is like a totally different experience than like getting in the start box for a cross country.
right.
Yes.
Like it is way more of a mental challenge to like know that 1 second or like one slip of a pedal is going to cost you 3 positions.
Right.
And theoretically, you're not going to see anyone else. I mean, that's usually not what happens, but you usually end up catching someone in front of you.
Yeah.
Or get caught by someone, I guess, depending on what's going on. But that like mental game of like waiting for a half an hour doing nothing,
Yeah.
just trying to keep your legs warm. Then you get up in the little box or tree that you lean against, and you just sit there and you're like, okay, it's got to be perfect. No big deal.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Right. So that's the opposite of cross country races where you're like, I have an hour and a half to catch somebody and make a move, and that you guys have 3 minutes, 2 minutes, something like that
At best.
Yeah.
at best. So
If you're not full gas out of the start gate,
you're losing.
you lost
Yeah.
already.
All right.
Yeah.
I try to tell our cross country friends, I'm like, if I'm doing a cross country ride and like I'm respectably fast on a cross country bike, my heart rate, like even Zwift racing, like 175, 178.
Yeah.
I get into an enduro race where there's a little more gravity and I'm pushing like 190s, 195.
Jeez.
But a downhill race or like a one and done thing, like even the bootleg, 49-second race for me. My heart rate was 203.
Goodness.
And you're still with us.
Yeah, and you're still here.
Yeah, my max is 211. So like
Wow.
the dark place I get to at the finish, like this year wasn't because I had a badly sprained ankle. So it was kind of like pretty mellow going down. Like
Yeah.
didn't try anything, but like in years past when like giving it full gas, it's like it's a dark place at the bottom. We used to do this extreme country race. The trophy's right behind me.
Yeah.
And it was, you went down the Canonsburg Skills area, then you had to climb all the way back up, and then you come back down halfway again. And the bigger the features you hit, the more time you could take off, basically. Like the shortest line was definitely the biggest feature.
Okay.
In the top of that race, that was 2 minutes and 10 to 2 minutes and 40 seconds of just pure hell.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, like a minute and 30 of that is climbing, right?
Yeah, I mean, that hill, like, determined a lot. Like, the first couple years when we were just still all downhillers, cross-country guys would win it. And then, like, as we adapted our games a little.
You figured out you did have to get in a little shape. Just
You'd get a lot of shape.
yeah, no kidding. Wow.
And then you have to maneuver everyone's, like... So, like, the spectators for, like, a downhill race or an enduro race, it's a lot of heckling.
Yeah.
A lot of nudity.
Seen a lot of butt
chainsaws,
cheeks in my race runs.
Fair.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of furry butt cheeks.
Don't look at me.
Just there's one section, like, you jump over the hill and, like, you come around the back and it's just a forest of dudes bent over.
It's like an S-berm where you got to go, like, swerve between the butts is what happens.
You guys are really selling this hard, and I'm in.
Well, I can tell you about the worst.
I would say we're selling it soft.
Yeah.
but
It'd be weird the other way.
the worst heckle of all time I ever saw, watching a downhill race, and the crowd, there's one guy usually with a megaphone, and he's like the facilitator of the fun of that section. And he goes, all right, silent treatment. Everybody just stood there with their arms at their sides and watched a pro rider go by at Mach 10 silent. That had to mess with that guy.
We were at the World Cup at Snowshoe, and there's the megaphone dude, and everyone's costumes, and, like, Snowshoe's rowdy, like, real rowdy. And this, like, kind of bigger, older dude comes riding down the ski hill, like, next to the woods where they're racing. And the guy in the megaphone, he was excellent heckler, for first off. Nothing he said didn't make everyone around you laugh. Like, he was the perfect dude with a megaphone. So this guy, like, comes down the hill behind us, and he's like, let it go, blah, blah. Like, I forgot what he said to him. And he just lets go of the brake. He goes down the hill at like 50 miles an hour. And there's, like, these chunks of rock and water barriers and stuff. And we're like, oh my God, who was that? It was Steve Pete. Yeah, on a Santa's Cruise e-bike, just ripped down at like 50 miles an hour down the hill. And we're like all drunk standing there, like, yeah.
Yeah. Who was that? That was somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. That just wasn't some old dude, like, cruising down the hill.
That was not one of us. Yeah, it was one of them.
Have you guys ever got counter heckled? Like, you were heckling them and they heckle you back? Like, for a shout out to Brian Davis. Like, he's previous guest, funny guy. We got him to do that race, and I was standing on one of the corners and mooned him as he came around the corner. And as he was around the corner, he goes, I think you got hemorrhoids. You should get that checked out. Like, as he went through the corner, I'm
To
like,
be that quick?
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
like,
yeah, he wins.
yeah. Like, oh.
In all fairness, Davis is that slow that he had time to look.
I was going to say, I have no time to process
roasted.
anything other than what's in front of my front wheel.
Yeah, I don't hear or see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went by. I'm like, that's not how I expected that to go.
You're all disappointed.
Closest thing I have to that, wood chip hill. It's you guys. Like, I knew you were there, but I didn't know you were there. Like,
Next time we'll get some ketchup on a burger.
yeah, just jam a cheeseburger in my helmet. Chances are I'll eat at least 3 bites. So
The normal person ate one bite and then tossed it.
yeah, right.
And then Jill would pick it up and, like, rotate it and give it on the back side.
New bite.
I think I'm fine with that. Yeah.
So yeah, when you first came down here, kind of switch gears here. When you first came down here, you were commenting about Brian's drum set and that over here.
Yeah.
And you made a comment that you've played in a band and that you own the Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer's old drum set.
I do. Yeah. I friend of my family's. He had some connections in Nashville and picked it up. And yeah, it was Chad Smith's old drum set, a Pearl Master Series Champagne Sparkle. Yeah, it's beautiful. And so I graduated high school and he said he'd sell it to me under the condition that it had to be played and I couldn't turn around and sell it on eBay. And I have managed to maintain both of those things. But yeah, I play with my wife, Shayla. That's kind of how I got into music as a part-time gig. We had a country band. She had a country band. I joined it in 2010 as a bass player and played just a bunch of little bar gigs and festivals and around Michigan. She had some bigger deals. She won a couple contests. She's on like Josh Grayson's album. He's a country guy from American Idol from the east side of the state, and got to perform with him for like the Country Hoedown over in Detroit and some bigger stuff, and B93 Birthday Bash and intersection shows, all that. And eventually we just kind of wound that full band down, and her and I just do an acoustic duo now, which is great. And the gigs are earlier, so that's really nice.
I see you have a gig for St. Patrick's Day coming up.
Yeah, we got a little duo gig St. Patty's Day at Gull Lake Distilling down in Galesburg, close to Fort Custer. Even sooner than that, so I have another band out of Grand Rapids called Astro Jackson, and we're mainly a country band, but we really play everything. We do like corporate events, weddings, birthday parties, stuff like that. We'll still do some smaller bar gigs, so we'll play Back 40 downtown Grand Rapids. Yeah, and we're officially all just a dad band now, but we still play for the children at Back 40. Playing there this weekend, 9:30 to 1:30, something like 9 to 1:30. It is brutal.
So you play the early slot.
Yeah, the early slot, exactly. So that band is an absolute blast, though. We do everything from Brooks and Dunn to Whitney Houston to Dire Straits,
Probably
to
Morgan Wallen,
John
now,
Mayer, Jason Isbell. So a little bit of everything. But
What he meant to ask you is, do you play Taylor Swift?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Craig, you hear that?
What's your favorite song?
Turning this around.
That's favorite. It's so hard to pick a favorite when there's so many good ones.
That's what I say.
You do know that Craig went to Switzerland to see her, right?
No.
There's an episode about
It's
it.
specifically to see Taylor Swift.
I
it
need to
was-
dig a little bit deeper in my PPP podcast.
It absolutely was 100% my idea, not my girlfriend's.
No, I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
right.
milked that out of him in the podcast.
I'm finding that one. So
Man.
It's like
Yeah.
the fourth most popular episode now, I think.
nice.
So you're an all-in-one race event guy. Like, you will lead the race out, then play the after party.
My friend's band Sweet J played at Barrie a long time ago, and Rick Plight had booked them. And I've talked to Rick about this before. He's like, "Yeah, that didn't really work, did it?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so." But it was fun to have them, because they'd play a song, then be like, "All right, take a break and do an award," then like play another 2 songs, and then take a break, and it was a good idea. But I think the DJ probably works
Too many
better,
awards.
so. Too many
Yeah.
awards. Yeah, exactly. But no, and in that band I actually play bass. So I'm
How many instruments do you play? Because you play drums, you play bass.
guitar with my wife, and then whatever else. Pretty much anything except keys. I'm not great at keyboard, so
I stalked your Instagram a little bit. I thought I saw you playing a steel guitar too, like the one. I'm assuming that's what's called, steel guitar. It's like you put it on a table, and there's like that.
Like a slide guitar?
Yeah, slide guitar. You have like that metal bar. You kind of.
I can pretend, but my
okay.
friend Harmonica Brad, if he's out there, he's a cyclist too. But
What does he play?
he plays pedal steel, and he's
The harmonica. You don't call him harmonica, Brad.
he plays harmonica too.
There you
Yeah,
go. Okay.
yeah.
Now,
But,
now we're on the same page.
no, he's a monster on pedal steel, so he's fun to have. We'll have him whenever we can with us. So yeah, play the honky tonks. We go down to Nashville once a year and play a gig down there in November. So it's pretty cool.
I randomly ran into some super famous country guy at the Birch Lodge of all places on Michigan Street and got super wasted with him and like people in his band. And then he went and like bombed at the intersection. And I cannot remember his name.
I would love to know who that is.
He's the guy, the Yee Yee guy. He's got an alter ego. His alter
Yeah.
ego is Earl Dibble Jr.
Yeah. Okay.
Granger Smith.
Granger Smith. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've opened for him years. My wife and I. Yeah, I think we played one of his shows.
Was it
a
at the
long time
intersection?
ago.
Was
Yeah.
he wasted?
Probably. It could have been that. If it was a long time
It
ago.
was a pretty long time.
That
Probably
was
18-ish.
Yeah. It's probably
Yeah,
it.
they stay at the Hampton Inn that's over on Michigan by the surgery center. So
Nothing
they-
but the net. The
they,
best.
They walked over and we're getting ready for the show, and we just started talking and like having shots. And they have a great happy hour at Birch Lodge. It's like $2 everything.
Yeah. Are they a sponsor of the podcast?
They should be.
They are now. Yeah. Whether they want to be or not. We do not want to be associated with this.
I guess the only question I have left in mine is you became a dad approximately 1 year and 4 days?
I think you nailed it. Yeah, 1 year and 4 days ago.
February 13th, right?
Yep, you got it.
I asked you to do something that day
Yeah.
and you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
Zwift
been
ride.
watching
Zwift ride.
you.
No, I asked him to do the Zwift ride with us
Yep.
last week, and then
Yeah.
I wanted him to go to Rays with us. So
I will go to Rays, and I'm saying that on a recording because I want to get back there. I've been there twice.
thumb looks fine now. I'm
It's
just saying.
good. It bends. It's good to go. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Could have held the. Looks like you could have held the bar just fine.
Ah.
But how's dad life been?
It's fantastic. It is challenging, and we're old parents, but it's cool. She's already got her balance bike, so I'm already getting her going there.
Does it have a motor on it, or does
Not
it?
yet.
The stay sick is coming.
There is a Stasic. There's a Stasic with her name on it from one of our friends, and then there's a Yamaha PW50 from our friends up in Traverse City, Liz and Brian. There's a community little Yamaha 50 that gets passed around, and he's like, "You're next. You're the next one to get it."
I
So-
ride Grayson's 50, and I don't have a problem with that.
Awesome. That's
On the bump
awesome.
stops.
Yeah.
That's sweet. So to tie it together though, girls racing mountain bikes, back to Iceman. One of the big questions I've got has been, why isn't there a lead moto for the pro women? And I would love if we could swing that. The problem has come, and it's been tried before I was super involved, but the problem comes down to the fast women are faster than some of the slower guys. And when you jam up a moto so say the girls catch the guys and you got a moto in front of them, now you have a guy that doesn't want to let him pass, and you got a moto jammed up, and then you have the pro women behind them. And we haven't figured out a way around that other than the timing, and the timing's helped a lot, and they've spaced it out and how they've done the spacing. So I've noticed that last year is a really interesting fix to do that. So yeah.
If you listen to our previous podcast one before you with Lauren DeYoung,
Yeah,
the
I
issue
did.
is to ram them in the rear wheel of your bike.
That's what I heard. Yeah. So, and you know what, you take a moto front wheel to a rear mountain bike wheel. Yeah.
They don't want to get out of the way. They will.
You're going to
will then.
move.
What wins, carbon or steel?
I think tonnage, that's the law of tonnage. So the bigger one. Yeah. No, this has been great. You guys are a blast, and I love listening to you.
Yeah,
So
we appreciate having you on. I mean,
And making the trip up from Kalamazoo.
Yeah,
I'm glad the
absolutely.
weather was good today.
yeah. I don't know how many problems we actually solved, but yeah.
We don't solve problems in this podcast.
No.
We're not very informative either.
No.
We just like talking about fun stuff. And
You make my Zwift rides go quickly. I appreciate that. So
yeah, I knew it was inevitable to have you on. First time I was at watching Iceman with Brian, I saw the moto guy rip up the hill. I'm like, who is that? How do I do it?
right.
And ever since then, Brian's like, I got the guy. We're gonna have him on. We're gonna talk.
yeah,
and
you
we're
sent
gonna
a
figure it out."
message after the Matt and Jenny episode.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm the moto guy from, and I was like instantly like, oh,
We're getting
I can't not know who you are and not have you come on with Kellen being a fanboy.
Absolutely. No, it's a blast. And yeah, everything from the leading to the sweeping. We didn't even touch on like coast to coast and stuff. That's a wild one in itself. You know, you're out there all night. So yeah, I'll let you can sweep with me on coast to coast.
Perfect.
Start at 9:30 p.m., finish around 2:30 a.m. So
You get me on the bike, I'm happy.
bring your headlamp, and yeah, I didn't dump the bike, but it was in at least 3 feet of water last year. That was that was that day. Yeah, that day. So we got something for everybody.
Well, we'll make it
So,
work. We'll have fun.
Absolutely.
I guess the only real question I have left is, do you like Ricky Robbie or Robbie Bobby better?
That's gonna be a tough one. Ricky Robbie, yeah, they both have such good rings to them. You know, yeah, you ain't first, you're last.
We'll just call it shake and bake. It's shake and
Yeah,
bake.
yeah, that's it. When you see the pro Iceman come up behind me and start to catch me, that's exactly what I'll be thinking. Like shake and bake, like just get out of the way.
You're gonna lock in. You're
Yeah.
gonna lock in right now.
Exactly.
Can you get new graphics on your bike? Just the Cougar. That
The
says
Cougar,
me?
yeah, me. I think we can find a sponsor for that. Yeah.
You just have Fig Newton across your goggles next year.
Can't see anything.
I sure do love Fig
Big
Newtons.
Newtons.
Well, dear baby Jesus, I'd just like to say thank you for driving up here and being on our podcast with us today. Would you like to plug your social media or anything?
Oh yeah. Let's see. Cobby Roots. There it is. Cobby.roots. Kobbie. Yeah. ROETS. It's my first and last name mixed around.
Nice.
And when again was your shows? Just if anyone wants to come watch you guys play.
Oh yeah.
Both your bands.
Yeah. Just check out Astro Jackson. We're on all the social medias.
Do you have stuff on like Spotify and stuff? Like
that band's more covers, so we don't have a lot of that. My wife.
YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube. We're on YouTube. We got a couple shows on YouTube. So yeah, I think the next gig is coming right up, February 22nd. Not to put a date stamp on this podcast, but we'll be around. We play the Score up in Grand Rapids too a lot.
Oh, that's real
so
close.
It is nice and close. So we'll be around this season. So. Or just book us for your wedding. If you're out there getting married, you need a wedding band.
don't put that kind of pressure. What the hell are you doing?
We're the best. Courtney, did you hear
I
that?
didn't say you.
you literally said your.
The listeners.
Generalities.
Both Craig and I are like
No. Yeah. Oh, the
bush to walk into back here.
yeah. Mike's quit working. Weird. Huh.
Craig already has the Taylor Swift cover band book. So.
Yeah, we can do that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't heard your voice yet.
All right, Kellen,
Yeah.
take her home.
Yeah, we appreciate having you on. Appreciate telling your story, and I'm glad I have a new job at leading not leading, but sweeping bikes. I ain't leading.
You got to earn the leading job.
You're last.
They kind of keep the theme here. Do we just become best friends?
Yes.
All right.
Look forward to the bunk beds.
I look forward to buying another bike thanks to you guys.
And the drum set. Don't touch his drum set.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, we appreciate all you guys listening. Remember to always keep progressing, keep pushing stuff, and have fun. Thanks for listening, guys. See ya.
Leading the pack, he was the sweeper or following the group as the sweeper. Motherfucker, I just said sweeper twice.
Just keep going.
Nice going, Kellen.
Start right there.
Yep.